No, the title is not clickbait. I both physically and metaphorically shat myself yesterday. Not one of my most proudest days. That is for certain, but it's a bit of a long story. And as you'll come to find out, none of this was my fault. Actually, no, no, except for one. We'll get to that one later. But just going from the start. Going from the start. It started off as a regular day. It was a bit cloudy outside, just like it is now. Very gray, very dark. It rained a little bit. It was a bit chilly. And I had spent a majority of the day at home recording a new video to upload on my YouTube channel because I love content creation. I love it, right? So I record for a better half of, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 hours. I woke up at 1 p.m., recorded until like 5, 6. I've been on the phone with my sister to head over to her house, which in retrospect she lives about 2 hours away from me on foot. Right, and this is relevant information. This is all relevant information so far. So that happens, and I'm like, okay, I should leave soon. And my other sister, the one I live with, she said, I'm feeling too lazy to cook today, so let's just order some KFC and you go get it. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I did tell her, KFC might not be such a good idea because the last time I went there, they kept me waiting for 40 minutes. 40 minutes. And then they absolutely spat in my face by giving my order to somebody else, having them open it, returning, and then, of course, like that customer, it's not what they ordered. They give it back to the KFC employees, and they just gave it right back to me. Package is opened, refused to switch it out, refused to give me a new one, refused to give me a refund, and they told me to basically just suck it up and eat it, which I did because I don't have a lot of money. I tell her this, and she's like, you're being too much of a baby. This is in a different location, anyways. This is a different this is in a different KFC, anyways. So the service there probably wouldn't be as bad. And also, I'm ordering it online, so when you go there to pick it up, it'll already be ready, and you don't have to wait 40 minutes. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine. The reasoning checks out. I'll give it one more chance. One more chance. One chance. I gave KFC one chance. A bit more context. Right before I started recording that day, yesterday, I had gone out to the store and bought myself a can of Monster Energy. Got it for pretty cheap as well. They usually sell it for about $5, $6 here. I bought it for about the equivalent of 2 or 3. So I got a can of Monster Energy for a pretty good deal. And alongside, I was like, oh, might as well. I saw this like really nice ice cream that also sells for really cheap, less than $1. And so I thought, might as well eat that ice cream. Just to get a little bit more context, I am lactose intolerant, right? But a single ice cream, that's not enough to like completely destroy my stomach. It'll bubble a bit, it'll gurgle a bit, but then I won't really fart, I won't really have to shit. So, this is just to clarify that I did eat something earlier that day. It was a single stick of ice cream. I also bought like a pack of cookies as well. Of course, not the chocolate chip cookie kind, more so like the Russian biscuits that come in like this small package size. Had 4 little tiny pieces inside. I ate that. So that's all I had for food. Right? Okay, so I go over, I pick up the order, and what they did, first and foremost, what they did was when they were packing the order, they kept me waiting an extra 10 minutes for no apparent reason. They never explained that to me. And then when I got my order, they didn't give me the fucking Mountain Dew that I ordered. They gave me a Mirinda instead. I don't fucking like Mirinda. Why couldn't they just give me a fucking Pepsi instead? They didn't even come to ask me. They never told me they never gave me any fucking reasoning for that. They just fucking decided to give me Mirinda instead of fucking Mountain Dew. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Whatever. It's just a drink. It's just a drink. I don't fucking care. I go home, I open up the meal, and I start digging in. I dig in, and I'm like, whoa, it's late. Going to get that KFC order and waiting there while the fucking employee there completely refused to give me the drink I asked for. Well, that ended up taking a lot longer than I thought it would take. It was already like 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. So I was like, okay, I better eat this up quick, and I better leave, because my sister, my sister and her family, they usually go to sleep around 10 p.m. So I'm like, okay, I eat the food quick, I finish around 7:30, and what I do is I immediately go out and start walking towards there. I start walking towards my sister's house. And mind you, this is the first and only proper meal I ate. I mean, the little grocery store snacks I bought, I had eaten them at around 1 p.m. So in no way did those affect my stomach in any way, shape, or form. I head out. I start walking. It's completely dark outside. The sun is starting to set, and I make my way to a pretty big grocery chain. I go in, I try and buy a drink. My fucking card declined because money. I don't have any money. As I was heading out, I ran into a college friend of mine. I hadn't met him in several months, so I'm like, hey. It's nice seeing you here. It's a pleasant surprise. I was hoping to catch up with you soon. I was thinking about sending you a message, because we had been talking all summer about meeting up and sort of just catching up. I wanted to tell him and his wife, whom was a former professor of mine. They're the same age. Whom was a former professor of mine. I wanted to tell them about this wonderful news about my life, and just, sort of fill them in, because I feel that they're, as far apart as we are, both in terms of age, location, and thought processes or whatever, I still see them as my cherished friends. And so we struck up a conversation. We ended up talking for quite a long time, because, again, we hadn't met in months. Ended up spending an hour, 2 hours just outside talking, right? Around the end of it, I ended up telling him a lot of things. And his wife also came out midway through, too. They were taking their dog out for a walk. The wife ended up coming out, too, and we started striking up a conversation. I told him about my life aspirations or my goals for the future, how I wanted to teach people how to communicate properly, how I wanted to sort of conquer my own weaknesses and become a stronger person, how I wanted to strive for the things that I believe in. And right as we were on that, right as we were wrapping up the conversation, I felt this like little cramp in my stomach. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I probably just need to fart or something. I'll hold it in for now. So my stomach starts cramping, and 5 minutes, we spent the next 5 minutes just wrapping up the conversation. We planned a date for when I should come over to their house and really discuss in detail about the several things that we went over. And this whole time, every now and then, maybe once every minute and 30 seconds, I would feel this slight cramp in my stomach, and I'm like, I could probably hold it until I get to my sister's house, because at that point, I was only 30 minutes away from my sister's house. So I'm like, okay, let's get there quick. The area I was in, by that point, it was already 10 p.m. Well, 9:45, but pretty much all of the local businesses were all closed, okay? They were all closed. No bathroom or anything of the sort nearby, okay? So what ended up happening was I ended up walking right towards my sister's house, and I'm like, okay, this pain isn't that bad. I can manage it. I can handle it. It's not that big of a deal. I hold it in. And then 3 minutes into my walk, shit really hits the fan. The pain was so substantial that I knew right then and there that I needed to go to the bathroom immediately. Right? So I started walking a little bit faster because I know that if I started running now that I would probably shit my pants. Like, I wouldn't want to shit my pants, would I? I open up my map. I check out the nearest convenience stores, local businesses, wherever there might be a toilet. All of them closed. The closest convenience store, 15 minutes away. 15 minutes. But I'd been to their bathroom before. It's relatively clean-ish. You know, as clean as a convenience store bathroom would get. At least here where I live. So I started tailing it towards there. Not running, I can't run. I know that if I run, that it would just make things worse. So I start speed walking frantically towards the CU convenience store. And on my way there, the pain just progressively gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm thinking to myself, oh God, what should I do in this situation? Because I had been holding it in for a solid 15 minutes at that point. And every single time, because it caved in fucking waves for whatever ungodly reason, it came back more painful and more prominent than before with each pulse. And then, right as I was 5 minutes away, I was really starting to doubt that I could hold it in any further. So before all of this even happened, I had music on. And the moment I realized, oh shit, I'm fucked, I took them off. Because the music was distracting me from keeping my sealed. I don't know if having the music on would have been better or worse, but the whole time, my mind could not think of anything other than me just taking a seat on a bathroom toilet and just letting it rip. These images were forced into my brain by my body. I didn't want to think those things. They made me want to shit even more, but my body was making me do it. Okay? It was a natural reflex for my body or for my brain to start imagining scenarios where I'm sitting down on the fucking toilet and I'm taking a shit. All the while I'm trying to keep my shut so I don't fucking soil myself, right? And the whole time, I'm just trying to distract myself from those thoughts while also remembering very clearly to keep sealed. I had gotten close enough to where I was on the home stretch, basically. 2-minute walk. 3-minute walk, even. I was really struggling to keep things together. And at that point, I'm just begging with myself internally. Like, I have this, like, really, really serious, like, face. The only thing that comes to my mind is, like, that scene in Parasite, the anime. Parasite, the anime, where that criminal inmate locks the fuck in. Something like that. I had, like, expression on me. I could not care less that other people were looking at me like I'm a fucking lunatic. My hands were clenched. My teeth were also... My jaw was also clenched. My arms, my hands, my jaws, all clenched. Especially my anus. And I just had this, like, stern look on my face. I'm sweating actual bullets. I stumble my way over to the convenience store and I can't hold it in anymore. I take a seat as soon as I walk in because they had, like, this little seating area right at the front entrance, which, you know, thank God that kept me going for, like, an extra 2 minutes. Ended up stalling my stomach just enough for me to walk over to the bathroom. And I 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 try opening the door. And it's locked. The lights are on. I hear someone shuffling in there. And the door is locked. Thankfully, because for some reason, whoever designed or whoever put the furniture, whoever handled putting the furniture inside of that convenience store, thought that it would be a great idea to install another eating section, sort of right outside the bathroom. It was this like really narrow space. I might draw it and put it up here. But yeah, it was a very narrow space, few tables, few chairs, and the bathroom door is right there. And I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, oh my god, somebody's in there. Oh my god, somebody's in there. Oh my god, somebody. So that's what was going through my head at the moment, and I knew that if I did not sit down right then and there, I would leak all over the fucking place. It's not going to be pretty. So I pulled up the nearest seat and I sat down. And I crossed my legs. I had taken a napkin from one of the shelves without paying because at that point I did not have enough time to buy it. If I had even remotely thought about stopping for a second to buy napkins, to buy tissues, I would shit right there in front of the cash register. That's how serious it was. And at this point, I'm feeling nothing but pain all throughout my body stemming from my stomach. I am in so much pain that I am shaking. I'm trembling. I'm in so much agony that I'm sweating bullets. I look like I'm about to murder someone. Thankfully, nobody was there when I first walked in, except for the guy in the fucking bathroom. We'll get back to that later, but the entire seating area, empty. I'm sitting there. I have the fucking napkin and I'm clenching it with every single ounce of my strength to keep it together for as long as I can, to delay the inevitable, however many seconds that I can save. And the pain is getting worse and worse and worse, and I feel like my entire body is on fire. I genuinely cannot stress enough just how painful it all was. And this sort of strange burning feeling starts building up inside my stomach slowly and slowly and slowly. And then would you guess what happened after? Somebody walks into the seating area with some convenience store boxed lunch. At this point, I knew that I was very close. I was very close to losing it. I knew exactly right then and there the deep shit that I was about to get into, both metaphorically and physically. And I'm sitting there in complete silence, completely sweating from my face. My face is probably completely flushed, tomato red. I'm gripping this napkin with every ounce of strength I had. And it had gotten so bad that I started making fucking noises. Like fucking whimpering. I didn't want to do that. It happened naturally. And instead of taking the hint, that guy just keeps sitting there and eating, and I'm listening to him fucking chewing. At that point, I was making noises for real. No, intentionally. So the guy would take the hint and get the fuck out of there. I was genuinely contemplating in my head whether I should shout at that guy to get the fuck out of there before she blows. I was in so much pain that nothing came out. The pain had gotten so bad to the point where I was starting to black out. I don't mean that as an over dramatization. Genuinely, I was about to faint from how much pain I was in. Just to put into perspective just how fucking painful it was. All the while, he's like sipping it up in the back. Like, I hear him slobbering up the fucking box lunch with like every fiber of his being. It sounds like he's genuinely enjoying it. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of there. Or try and convey that at least through my body movements and the sounds I made. I was like breathing heavily. I was breathing heavily. I made like noises. And he still kept eating. I feel really bad for the guy because I probably traumatized his image of I probably traumatized his image of convenience stores for the rest of his life. Is my nose fucking bleeding? You can't be serious right now at this crucial time. So it's all a mess at that point. Of course, this is before I'm struggling to keep it together, right? I'm struggling to keep it together. I'm in so much pain that I'm starting to black out. And I'm thinking like, God, what can I do in this situation? I'm like imagining so many different scenarios in my head. I imagined my middle school biology teacher giving a lecture to us boys that women have it so much harder than we think, because some kid made some comment about how, oh, girls ain't shit. Our middle school teacher, biology teacher, ended up telling us, giving us a lecture. The exact words she used were, "You snot-nosed brats act like your stomach aches are signs that you are dying. Women during pregnancy have that pain. Have 3-4 times that pain that you feel when you have stomach aches." And that same exact message like played over and over and over in my head the whole time. I felt like, God, I'm genuinely about to shit myself. God, people have it worse. God, this doesn't even compare to giving birth. But I felt like I was going to die. And I felt really pathetic that I felt like I was going to die at that moment, because, God, can you imagine how it must be during pregnancy? And a part of me felt shame that I felt like this was the worst pain that I've ever experienced. Maybe not the worst pain, but it was so bad that I couldn't think about anything else. My judgments were completely clouded. And right as that guy was in the middle of his lunch, because he never finished before I felt one... I felt the worst burning pain in my stomach, and I knew right then, oh, what's that? And I let it out. Sorry, I didn't let it out. It came out! To keep a long story short, there were no solids. Oh my God. I had lost every ounce of strength I had. and I collapsed onto the little tiny disgusting table that they don't ever clean. And I'm not sure what was going on through my head at that point. A part of me felt relieved because it's done and over. The pain won't get any worse. And right as that sort of fuzziness from almost blacking out finally cleared away from my head, I'm sorry, it's just so... I heard... The guy kept eating. He kept chewing. And then a minute later, an entire minute later, an entire minute later, his chewing slowed down, and he took. He took a whiff of the air. Mid-chew, he stops and he takes a big whiff of the air. And he keeps chewing. He chews faster. And he finishes the entire thing and he walks off. That was only the first round. Do you remember how I said the pain came in pulses? Waves. It would go away and come back. And it would go in and would come back stronger. And that buildup of pain was sort of what led to my ultimate demise. That was the first wave. And the pain, you would think it's out. The pain is gone. No! It was still there! The pain was still there. I don't know what I felt. I imagined how, right then at that moment, I imagined how other people would react in such a situation. I imagined some people crying. I imagined some people wishing they were dead. Or that they would just disappear right then and there. That they would fade out of existence. That none of this would happening to them. And the only thing that I could sort of think of was the fact that just less than 30 minutes prior, I'd been talking to a dear friend of mine about how I wanted to change the world. About how sure I am of the next 4 years of my life. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to disappear. But I was cursing at the guy inside the bathroom with every active brain cell that I had at that moment. And the most insulting part is that I heard the guy shifting around every now and then. He was probably on his phone or something. Or that's what I thought at the time. So the second wave came and the third wave came. It all happened in the span of less than a minute. And then that's when I realized, oh my god, I'm in so much pain. I feel so dizzy. I'm genuinely about to collapse. I need to call the ambulance. Again, I'm still sweating bullets. My face is still red hot. My entire body is trembling, and at that point, I could not feel my legs anymore. So I call an ambulance, and it was the first time that I ever called an ambulance, and I didn't know what to tell the dispatcher. So I ended up telling her something like, "My stomach is in so much pain and I can't move. Please send help." And so they did. Came in about 10 minutes, which, in retrospect, I was expecting them to take 30 minutes because I surely thought, who would ever prioritize somebody who says that they have stomach cramps? But the paramedic came in 10 minutes. The ambulance came in 10 minutes. But before they came, a couple of people walked past me to get to the bathroom. I don't know what part of them saw me sitting there with the stench of absolute death surrounding me. Did they think to go to the bathroom there? But they pushed through me and they went into the bathroom. A total of 3 people passed by me. 2 of them commented directly on the stench, and I knew for a fact just how bad it smelled. Because I was literally sitting in the middle of it. And I felt so empty at that time. I felt so empty. I felt so very empty. I felt like what's happened has already happened. I've lost every bit of pride and dignity I had left. But to my saving grace, not a single person there knew me. And I knew for a fact that they would probably laugh about it in the future. You remember that guy who came into our store and shat in the back? But I knew for a fact that however traumatized these people were by the events that transpired, that they could still live their lives in absolute peace and harmony. And with that was the sort of thinking and reasoning that I had that prevented me from collapsing onto the ground and losing every bit of fight that I had left. So the paramedic came, and at that point I was very self-conscious about the way I smelled. I couldn't even begin to fathom what had happened because I felt that I was worried that the moment I stand up, that the shit would just splatter all over the ground and get all over my legs and on my shoes. And she came in, she checked my pulse. She asked me about, sort of the pain and whether there's anything else. And she wrote me a prescription for stomach medicine. And she asked me if I wanted to call anyone because I was under the impression that the ambulance would take me away to a hospital because that the pain was still there. It was still very prominent. I felt like I was about to collapse and I felt very dizzy. I thought that the ambulance would take me away, but no, because it was too late. That they couldn't, because what happened was minuscule compared to somebody getting an arm and leg chopped off. They said that they couldn't take me into the ER, and so they said that they had to leave me there. Well, she said that she had to leave me there. There was only one person. She asked me if she could call anyone for me, and I said, yes, please call my sister, the one whose house I was going to. And so she did, and the paramedic explained the situation to my sister, and she called me at my phone a few minutes later. It was on 5% battery at that time, and the rest of it is a blur. Before I knew it, the paramedic was gone. My phone was dead. I was still sitting in shit. But this time, my legs felt like they were about to tear off. I couldn't feel them anymore. So with the little bit of power that I had, the little bit of energy that I've accumulated post shit, I pushed myself off the chair, off the table. I supported myself on the wall because blood had been cut off from my leg for so long that I couldn't even feel it anymore, and I tumbled into the bathroom. You know, I looked up, I checked the bathroom. Nobody was there. I never saw anybody walking out. Let's get to that later. I went into the bathroom, and for the next 30 minutes, I tried to salvage whatever I could. Threw away my underwear. That's a given. Thankfully, most of the shit had stayed in my underwear. A little bit had fallen off onto my pants, so I knew that throwing that away at that moment was also impossible. So I took it to the sink and I started cleaning it. I cleaned my pants. I cleaned myself. There was no soap. And by that point, I had finally regained feeling in my legs. Although I still felt very painful pins and needles all over. I put my wet pants back on, and I walked out into the lobby with the full intention of going over to the poor service workers who were finishing somebody's purchase at the time. I slowly walked over and I asked for every single one of their cleaning products. I asked them to please bring out the cleaning products because I was not about to leave that as is and walk off like nothing happened. You see, I worked in service before. I know exactly what it's like to have somebody shit on the floor and just fuck off. And I knew that regardless of however ashamed I was in that moment, there would be no coming back from that if I left the place in that exact state and fucked off and left it to somebody else. I also wanted to make things right. That's the exact phrase that was going through my head at the time, over and over and over again. I have to make things right. I have to make things right. So I went over to the person manning the cash register. He looked to be younger than me. And I asked him for cleaning products, where they kept their mop, where they kept gloves, where they kept towels, anything to clean, air fresheners, where are they? Soap, do you have any soap? And the dude was very chill about it. It was very obvious that he didn't want to talk about the fact that I had shat myself in the middle of the convenience store at 10 p.m. on a Saturday evening. But he brought out all the things for me, and he went back to working because there were a lot of people coming in, a lot of people buying beer. So I immediately got to work. I started cleaning up all the areas. Thankfully, the lounge area just smelled really bad, and there was just a very minuscule amount on the chair and the floor surrounding it. Most of it had stayed in my pants, thankfully. in my underwear, as a matter of fact. And I cleaned that up, scrubbed that place down multiple times with cleaning product, soap, water, disinfected the entire area. And then I went into the bathroom and I did the same thing. With all the murky poop water that was all over the floor because, of course, I had no choice but to just wet my hand and rub myself clean. Of course, that is after cleaning the really nasty parts off or wiping it off with toilet paper. The whole place just smelled so fucking awful. So fucking awful. I cleaned the place up. I threw away the towel. I threw away the gloves even. I didn't use the mop because I knew that if I had used it for that, then it would stink and they'd have to throw that out too, so I didn't even touch that shit. I took all the air fresheners that they had given me and I sprayed the place down 5-6 times. I made sure to clean the sink, clean the toilet seat. Made sure to put back the toilet paper that I had ripped off of the wall. And I made things right. That's right, I didn't run away. I was in a shitty situation that was not my fault. And I had owned it. And I had making things right with everyone involved. And I felt like I had regained the dignity that I had lost. Or at least salvaged some of it. Of course, I don't think there's ever coming back from shitting yourself as a 21-year-old. You know, the convenience store workers, they were very kind. They didn't raise their voice. They didn't treat me like I'm some disgusting filth. And the paramedic too. She was very gentle with her words, with her tone. Though she did definitely have that sort of vibe that, God, there are better places I need to be. So at that point, my phone is completely dead. I had spent an extra hour cleaning everything up. I took out their trash. I put it in an extra trash bag just to make sure that the smell doesn't seep through because it was really bad. And I threw it away where they told me to throw it away. So I did that. And then I got a new trash bag, put it into the bathroom trash bin. And those kind souls, they gave me new pants. They gave me a new pair of pants. Actually, let me put it for you. They gave me this. I don't know if it was a brand new pair of pants. I don't know if it was an old pair of pants. But it was pants. And they gave it to me and they were so kind to me. They were so very kind to me. And although the pants were very small on me, I'm going to keep this as a memento. I'm going to keep it as a memento to remember their kindness, to remember their humility, to commemorate their maturity. I bet they're laughing about it now, like, oh my God, that guy really just shat himself inside the restaurant, or inside the store. But it's fine, I'm laughing about it too, so. They didn't laugh when we were in that situation, in that mess, when we were in the middle of that. Sorry, I feel like something just happened to my chair. It's not turning anymore. At no point did they laugh at me, to my face at least. Um, they didn't yell at me. They didn't make weird faces at me. They looked at me as if I were a real living human being, and they were very cooperative. Or rather, I was cooperative with them in their humility. And they gave me a little bit of tips. You should probably just like throw that away as soon as you use it, which, you know, that's what I was planning on to begin with. They told me to go ahead and let them know if I need anything more, if I need anything else in my cleaning journey. And I made sure to clean everything up, completely spray the area clean. Didn't smell like anything other than cheap Chinese air freshener by the time that I was done with the place. I finally, with my new pair of pants and my salvaged dignity, plugged in my phone to my power bank, bought an energy drink. I apologized from that same convenience store. I bought an energy drink from that same convenience store. I apologized to them, and I left. And right as I was leaving, I turned my phone back on, and I saw that I had gotten 12 missed messages, 12 missed calls. And I finally spoke with on the phone with my sister, and she's like, "Where are you? I've been worried sick. You went completely radio silent. I thought something happened to you. Where were you? Where were you? Where are you now?" And the way I'm saying it sounds like I'm being really dismissive of the fact, like, "Oh my God, I just went through this. Could you not give me that shit right now?" No, that's not what I thought at all. You see, my sister, she has 3 children. She has a job. She has several responsibilities that she needs to take care of. Needless to say, she is a very busy woman. And not only that, she is currently also in a bit of a financial rut. And she had come to me with a taxi because that's how worried about me she was. That's how much she loved me. That's how much I mean to her. She had borrowed money so she could take a taxi and get to where I am to make sure that I'm fine. And then afterward, she sent me off to my house with a new taxi. And she paid for every single bit of it with money that she had just borrowed. And the sister that I live with, when I got back, she had made a run to the nearby drugstore, bought me all the medicine I need. She prepared hot water for me. A little bit of context, the hot water's been out for about a week now. So completely cold water, hot water's been completely shut off. They need to do some maintenance with the piping and whatnot, but yeah, we haven't been able to shower. She prepared a hot shower for me. She had gotten a big pot, boiled water, and then prepared all that for me, while also preparing the medicine and then cleaning up my surroundings, cleaning up the living room where I live. And she didn't laugh in my face. She didn't tell me that I'm pathetic for shitting myself as a grown-ass man. As a matter of fact, she told me that she also had stomach cramps, and she had also had a diarrheic episode, if that's even a real word. She ended up having to go to the bathroom a grand total of 3 times, and she still felt a little bit sick, so she also needed that medicine as well. So I took off all my clothes. I immediately put them in the washer, because what else are you supposed to do with those clothes? And I cleaned myself over and over and over again, and over and over and over again, and over and over and over again. And even now, after I have thoroughly washed my body a total of 3 times, I still feel dirty. that concludes our story. I shat myself. I called the emergency services. I made right with the poor service workers that were present at that day. I traumatized a poor guy trying to have a midnight lunch. He was chewing normally. It suddenly slowed down, and like I heard the briefest. And he finished the thing really fast, and he walked off. And I never once looked him in the eye. Oh my god. Now, you, my wonderful viewer, I've been talking for an entire hour straight. This was a very, very, very long story. You're probably wondering to yourself, you're probably asking out loud, why are you telling us this? Why are you sharing this? Well, for several reasons, right? Let's start with the first and most obvious one. I want to sort of let other people know about this crazy story. So that I can let it off my mind. The most immediate reason why I'm making this video is because I want this off of my mind. I want to tell this to somebody so that I don't have to sort of hold on to the story alone. But then there's also the reason that there are a lot of morals to the story. Respect service workers. Respect paramedics. Respect the people that care about you, that worry about you, that love you. If you do something wrong, then make sure to properly make up for it. Started off with a story about me shitting myself, ended with a story about how you should hold on to your faith in humanity. Because at no point did any of the people who were present during this entire event, what the hell was it? Yeah. No, nobody who was present in this event pointed and laughed at me, treated me like a disgrace. They treated me like human. They worked with me to fix the issue. And I think it makes for a very inspiring story. I hope this story about how I shat myself can what's the word again? I'm blanking out here. I said it so many times in my head yesterday when I was thinking about making this video. Restore your faith in humanity. There is one more moral to the story. Never buy KFC. Never eat KFC. Never eat KFC. Never eat KFC. Never. Holy mother of God. It's the only fast food restaurant that you go to that has disgusting cheap food, a horrible toxic environment, and waiting times that'll make you wish that you never even stepped foot on the premises. And you know, I happen to live in a country where I can't sue KFC for all they've got. I can't. That's not an option here. I can complain to KFC, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're so sorry about that," but they're not going to give a shit. They're not. They don't care about me as a customer. They care about me for my money. And they know for a fact that I'm not going to be giving them any more money, so they're not going to give a damn about me. You know, I think this timing is actually kind of funny because W Place is live at the moment. W Place is live at the moment. If all of you could go to Mongolia, go to Ulaanbaatar, the capital city, and just at every KFC branch leave a little shit drawing, I would really appreciate that. Please, could we do that? Could we say fuck you to KFC? Fuck you, KFC. That's the other moral of the story. Never go to KFC. Well, thank you for joining me in the story. I think I'm gonna recover. I think I can recover from this. It ended up in such a positive note that I don't feel like my life is totally completely over. I also hope that in talking about this, I can process it a little bit faster in my mind and really put it behind me. New videos coming up soon. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.